All right, everyone, the time has come to start configuring. So basic configurations on a Cisco switch. My basic configurations are not the same basic configurations, so I'm going to take you through a slew of configurations through the switch, okay? Now, we're going to do, yes, we're going to do, we're also going to secure it. We're going to put console passwords, privileged passwords. I'll show you how to do Telnet, and then we'll put SSH in there, and then we'll use a local username and maybe some other commands as well, okay? I'll see how I feel. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. Let's do this. All right, so let's escape out of here. And let's open up our lab, our existing lab that we're working on. And let's go to the switch. All right, so on the switch, let's start from the very beginning. All right, so we know how to get there. Okay, so we're here in user mode. We just hit enter. We're in user mode. We hit enable, or we type enable. Sorry. All right, and then we're in privilege mode. And then we do config T. Now we can actually configure. So we're going to give it a name, host name, SW1. No spaces, underscores. Use underscores if you need to. All right, so now the switch is called switch 1. All right, so now we're going to give it some passwords. We're going to secure it. So we're going to do enable password Cisco, and then enable secret student. These two are privilege mode passwords. The secret will override the password Cisco because password Cisco is plain text. Secret obviously is encrypted, which is student. So student gets an MD5 hash that gets encrypted. So it will override. Last, then why are you putting both on? Because you need to know both. And if anything happens to your iOS, okay, and you need to put an older iOS, much older, it won't understand the secret. It will only understand the plain text. At least you have some security on there, okay? But anyway, that's it. Then you have service, password, hyphen, encryption. All right, that's gonna encrypt all the other plain text passwords that you type in there, all right, with the MD5. Okay, so then you can go something like, let's say, oh, the banner, MOTD, message of the day, welcome to SW1. Okay, typing skills, not happening today. Oh, sorry, I forgot my delimiting character. You have to start it with the same character you started with. And I normally just use the pound sign, but I can find it. Hold on, there it is. Last is going blind. All right, where is it? Let's just put welcome. I'm just typing. It's not happening today. All right, so that's a message of the day. So that's what you're gonna get when you get in. Then after you do that, you're gonna do a line con 0. And what's going on here? Exit. Okay. I'm gonna do WR anyway. There we go. What happened there? All right. Line con 0. All right. Now we're in the console port. We're gonna do password Cisco. We're going to do login local. Now is when we need that username and password that we didn't configure yet. And we're gonna do login synchronous. I'm gonna tab that out. Okay. Spelling login synchronous. Then we can do line VTY 0 space 15. Those are your telnet lines, your virtual terminal lines. You can open up one, you can open up all of them, as many as you need. All right, what you're gonna work with. You're gonna put a password Cisco. Why do I always put Cisco? Because it's a lab. It's not the real deal. All right, and then it's gonna be login local, and then we're gonna do login synchronous. Okay, and I forgot to put, there's one, login synchronous and exec hyphen timeout, 0 minutes, 0 seconds, so it never times out, which I forgot to do on the line con. All right, but you do it on all your lines. Line con 0, do your line VTYs, and your auxiliary port as well, but we're not going to do the auxiliary port. We're really not going to use it. All right, but here is where you can configure Telnet or SSH. Okay, so just by doing that right there, I've enabled Telnet. But you can do, if you do a question mark, you can go ahead and you can see that you can do the transport. All right, transport input SSH. All right, but we haven't configured everything for SSH, have we? So first, let's do that username. Username, LDias, privilege 15, which is administrative, password 0, which is plain text, Cisco. Do I care? No, because that's first password hyphen encryption. Then we go IP, SSH. What is it? The timeout. And the timeout is, I think we'll put it 3 seconds. Is the timeout 3 seconds or 30 seconds? 120, sorry, 120. All right, IP, SSH. Timeout. Authentication retries, that's 3. Okay, and I'm not going to change the version of SSH that I have already. So now, remember, I went to line VTY 0 and I put transport input SSH. So SSH is the only thing that's allowed for you to do. All right, so what do we have? Well, let's do a do WR, and we'll do a show IP int brief. Not show IP int brief, do show start, sorry. So here you see that we have the storage password encryption, the host name, the username. This is the switch. They're all our ports. Okay, our VLANs. There's our interfaces right there, our banner. So if we were to exit, and there's our VTY lines. All right, if we exit, and we hit enter, now it's asking us user access verification, LDias, and then password is Cisco. And now I'm inside switch 1. That's all it is. But you can do the command that if you forget username and password, you start up the router, you go to the CLI, then Control C as a break command. Not all routers are equal. All routers, you may have to do a Control Shift 6. There's many break commands, but normally Control C will work. Okay. Now, one thing that I also want to do is IP domain lookup. All right, I'm going to turn it on. Usually turn that off using the no command. IP domain hyphen lookup. Really? Okay. Now it's usually on by default, but I just want to show you. And I am going to create an IP name hyphen server, which is going to be this guy right here. And we're subnetted. All right, so he's going to be 34. So I'm going to be 172.31. I need a space there. 172.31.10.34. That's the name server, the DNS server. And then IP domain hyphen name. Guess what it is? Cisco.com. Okay, do WR. So as we go configuring along and start putting IP addresses and all that, these are some basic administrative tasks that I like to do. We put in the passwords for it already. Okay, basic passwords. And now we've turned on the banner, we've turned on the encryption, we've turned on DNS. Now we can actually use a DNS server if we wanted to. Okay. I think that's it. What I wanted to show you. Yes. This is the switch. Because if you look at do show VLAN, there's really, we're all part of, if I can open it just a little bit more, just to show you, we're all part of VLAN 1. You can take a look that all the ports are right there. We're all part of VLAN 1. Okay, so I don't need to do any VLANs. When we get to do VLANs, you'll see how that works. But you do a do show VLAN or do show start, all right? Or you can do a do show IP int brief, okay? You can play around with the clock rates, which we will later on, okay? And put a clock time in there and everything. But that's basically it, all right? But you're gonna get a handout with all these commands anyway, all right? So this is the basic, most basic administration that you can put on there. And again, the only reason I turned on DNS is because we're going to use DNS in our presentation. In our labs. We are going to use DNS. So we went ahead and put a console password. We put a provisional password. Telnet, if we take out the login, Cisco, we said password Cisco or local login. We said login local. Sorry, login local. When we said login local, that means we need to create a username and password. If we would have just said login, then you don't need to put in a password. That will be, through Telnet. Okay, we put in login local. That's a little bit more secure. And on top of that, we put SSH. So now it's encrypted. Okay, and we put a timeout and the retries. All right, and we did the local username and the other commands. The only other commands that we really did was the banner, and just to tell everybody, hey, this is welcome to router 1, or hey, you don't need to be here, get out. All right, turning on DNS, which is already on, but I show you IP domain -lookup. I put in the IP address of the DNS server, and I actually give it a domain name. And actually, the host name and the domain name is needed in order for you to configure all those SSH commands that I did. If you wouldn't have done that, if I wouldn't have done that, you would have not been able to configure the SSH, IP SSH this, IP SSH that. You didn't need those two to create that type of encryption. Okay? Alrighty, that's it for this particular lecture. I'll see you in the next.